Okay, welcome back to Kick the Can podcast. I'm Paul Granelli, and this is our fourth episode, and it's been a lot of fun for me, getting a few of these things off my chest and hearing from people and getting their thoughts, getting the corrections. It's really a lot of fun, more than I really thought. And I'm starting to get into it a little bit more, and people are helping me remember things. I ask them stuff. So I'm having a good time with it. I'm hoping, you guys are enjoying it. And keep listening, and most thing, tell people about it. Just not everybody's on Facebook or social media. You look at most people our age, my age, 70. You tell them about a podcast, they look at you like you have 10 heads. So you might, they might be nurtured through it to get on it, or listen with somebody who's more familiar with listening to podcasts. So I wanted to wish everybody a happy Easter. We're one day past Easter. It's Monday. I was a little bit under the weather. I was hoping to get back and put another episode up, but couldn't do it. I wasn't feeling well for a couple of days. And now that I finally feel a little better, here we go, episode 4. We're going to put up a couple of photos on Facebook and YouTube of some Easter Sunday pictures from Hoffman Street. My good friend Stephen Albano, 2501 Hoffman Street, one building over, know my whole life. The only guy we knew that had a camera, and he really used it. So he sent me over a couple of photos from Easter Sunday, and I wanted to share that with you guys. The pictures, they're just a who's who. It's amazing the effort that our parents went through to get us all duked up for Easter Sunday. I mean, it's really really fun to look at. The one I'm looking at now is Frankie Pagnotta, Ronnie and Michael Labriola, Leo, I think Chufo was his last name, good old Gugi right there, Larry Samili, Dom Adavazio, and Stephen Albano up in the back there. And this is Easter Sunday. Probably went to Mass, came back, hanging out on the block before you go see the relatives. And it's amazing how I think almost everybody in that picture, I can call them, Probably half the guys there I talk to all the time, have their numbers. That's one of the special things. I know anybody that's from there and lived on, grew a relationship with your neighbor, or guys you hung out with on the block or on a team. It lasts forever. Now as we hit these milestones of 50, 60 years of friendship, really, really remarkable to me. And I hope you folks all... don't take it for granted, because it's really, really something special to cherish. I'm going to tell you about a story about a few weeks ago. I went to Florida, and I spent the whole week with Danny Calaro, another guy. I think I met him third grade. So you're talking about 50, 60 years ago, when you're 9 years old. And we went down, we went down to Florida. Didn't do nothing. Pretty much just sat by the pool. And just to refresh everybody, Danny's parents had the pork store across the street from the church. And I always referred to him and the Calaros as neighborhood royalty. First of all, the loveliest people, the mother and father, Danny and Louise. And Danny had five siblings. Just great family. They were royalty of the neighborhood. Those kids spanned so many years, so where everybody knew them. They all went to Mount Carmel. So they went through all those years where there must have been a Calaro in Mount Carmel. It was probably like 20 years that there was always one in the school. So we went down to the Keys and didn't do much. No fishing, no diving, no snorkeling. Just sitting by the pool, cocktail here and there. And then sooner or later, you're going to start talking about the neighborhood or Mount Carmel. And Danny brought up a story that I had forgotten about Brother Daggett. I think we had Brother Daggett 6th and 7th grade. You guys all remember. The girls not so much, but the guys remember. This guy was one tough cookie with discipline and just the way he approached himself. But he had a soft side to him too. I was thinking about when I realized I was going to talk a little bit about Brother Daggett today. I recall his desk being behind the students. So the blackboard, the kids would be looking at the blackboard, but when he was at his desk, you couldn't see him. And he was just, had his eyeballs, his head was on a swivel. And if he caught you picking your nose, scratching your ass, he just would have a comment, really degrading. But he was a tough love kind of brother. I'm sure he was believing that if he broke your balls, he's thick-skinning you and getting you ready for a world where you need to have a thick skin, Brother Daggett was an ex-Marine, which I found, 'cause now I'm really thinking into this. Maybe I better get a grip on myself. But he was already out of the Marines, while I would think Vietnam was just starting to rage up, just the beginning of the Vietnam days. And unlike, maybe that's why he got out of the Marines, become a brother, and then he probably got out of going to Vietnam. Because we had a bunch of young brothers that nobody said it, but you say, look at these guys. They're young, they're educated. What the heck are they doing over here in the Bronx teaching us hoodlums? So I think it was a form of draft dodging. You didn't have to. You probably had an exemption, and I always thought I never confirmed it. There's no statistic for it, but we had some really nice brothers that just didn't want to go off to Vietnam, and who could blame them? That didn't turn out well for a lot of their contemporaries. Brother Daggett would, he had a nickname for anybody, and he was like tough loving it. He wasn't bashful about tuning you up or maybe give you a couple of shots with a paddle, but not for doing anything really, really, oh my God, so bad. Just to keep the tone of the discipline and why you're in a Catholic school, taught by brothers. It's the whole mindset that they just kept on everybody's plate. So you just remembered who's in charge there. So Brother Daggett, he was a hard guy, but his soft side was like after school and on Saturdays, bike hike, or if two kids he saw were arguing in class, he would call them after school to the gym, let them put on the boxing gloves. He would supervise it, and it was fun. It was a fun thing. The kids would, oh, I beat you up, I know you didn't. So he knew how to blend the toughness with the softness. He was perfect mix for us. And at the end of the day, even though you sat there in his class, you didn't know what was going to happen next with him. But it could have been a lot worse. It wasn't that bad of a guy. He and the whole group, and don't forget, 40 boys, and they're just same ball breakers that just came out of Brother Gilbert's class, and now you're going into a little more situation where there's some more rules. But the group of guys that we've had, and I'm going to elaborate on so many stories that were just spontaneous. There was no, okay, we're going to go in and we're going to do this. That was the fun part of it, the way things would just grow a life on their own. But one day, a couple of the guys, this Brother Daggett, his jokes, they're not funny, they suck. Here's what we're going to do. We're not going to laugh at Brother Daggett's jokes today. I wanted to already start laughing, just the thought of not having to laugh. But we all, he started with the jokes, and it was like a comedian going deep. Not a joke, no laughter, no nothing. So you weren't going to outdo Brother Daggett. It was like a 10-degree day in February. Brother Daggett goes, you guys either stayed up late last night watching TV, or you're really tired today. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up all the windows, and you guys are going to get up out of your desks, and on the side of your desk, you're going to run in place. Oh, no. And sure enough, he got us. And he was, he was an ex-Marine. It wasn't like he was worried about a guy falling over. And while you're doing it, he's walking up and down, busting your balls. How you doing? If a guy had a chipped tooth, he called him Chipper. A guy, if you had a long face, he called you horse face. Guy was brutal. It's like you're trying to learn some English, and you're training for the Olympics. So we always that one, Brother Dag got the best of us. He would always he was a pro. He was a pro at getting you. And his claim to fame was, when he gave you if he ever gave shots or paddled you, the first kid that got paddled, the paddle got the kid's name on that paddle. And that was one of his things. And the paddling was very far in between, but you're always aware that you could get shots in Brother Daggett's class. So Danny and I had forgotten that story about, open up the windows and running in place. He got us good that day, Brother Daggett. And then from there, Danny and I were talking about another one of these things where nobody said, hey, it must have been maybe 6th grade. You sign up for not altar servers, you're altar boys. The girls were not altar servers then. It was all altar boys. So they make an announcement. Anybody want to sign up for any 6th graders want to sign up for altar boys? See your teacher. There's a list somewhere. Something silly. Sign up sheet. So there you go. Once again, nobody got together. Oh, we're not signing up for altar service. Forget it. Who wants to be an altar server? We're not doing it. Nobody did it. But there was no plan. Just nobody signed up to be altar service. So a few days go by. Nobody signed up for altar service. Brother John Shepard, the principal, tough guy, really tough guy. He comes up to all the sixth grade classes. I think there was 2 of them. And he tells us, nobody signed up for altar service? Well, guess what? You're all altar service. Here we go again. Another thing blows up in our face. Every one of you guys, Friday afternoon, 4:30, there was some parish room. I think it was around the corner from the church on Hughes Avenue. You go upstairs, a little room. Maybe it held 25, 30 altar boys. Now you got those guys and a whole 6th grade in there. Well, not everybody went, actually. Some guys were just going to not go and see where that led for them. Now it's total chaos. Father Malazzo he was in charge of the altar boys. So he would go, first of all, nobody cared nothing, nowhere to sit. You're supposed to write down your masses. Nobody had pencil and paper. I'll never forget that day. The first one was mass confusion. But we got through it, and the masses in those days was still, you saw the priest from the congregation, the priest's back faced you. The altar was still, the priest faced forward, and you looked at his back. And in Mount Carmel, there was 3 altars. 3 masses could go on at one time, and they did. And they needed altar servers on the side mass, 2 at the main mass. They started at 6:30 in the morning every day. So that was the downside. You got out of class sometimes because you went and served the mass. But now you're opening up a whole can of worms with the priests, who were another bunch of characters. Half of them spoke no English. Then some of the masses were in Latin. And there was no training for altar service. I think you just served with a kid that maybe was already an altar server. So it really had a spin in the beginning there. But like everything else, there's a silver lining to everything. The family mass, Sunday morning, I think it was 9 o'clock. Naturally, the girls are there. Now, here we are, Mount Carmel boys. You say goodbye to the girls under 4th grade. You never see them again until 8th grade when you're getting your diploma. The schoolyard literally had, boys' department was blacktop, asphalt, and then a clear line of demarcation to the girls' department was concrete. So there was a line there, and it was enforced at lunchtime. So maybe you can get a glimpse of a girl you knew back in 3rd grade, but I tell you, if the girls didn't live on your block or somebody's sister, you just never saw the girls. But if you got to do that Sunday Mass, 9 a.m., because back in those days, when you received communion, you kneeled on the railing. It was like a marble railing in Mount Carmel. Beautiful. And it was huge. Spanned the whole main altar. And the priest would give the communion, but the altar boy held that plate under the chin the receiver of the communion. Now, now you're living large. You can actually spend 2 seconds in the presence of one of your girl classmates. So everybody wanted to serve the 9 o'clock mass on Sunday. So everybody settled into being altar servers. They found their niche. Occasionally you would get a funeral, which was usually like 10 or 10:30 in the morning. So they would come up, get you, say, Granelli, 10:45, funeral, Ewan, so-and-so. So you would get over to do the funeral. So you're out of class, beautiful. And then after the funeral, you took the longest way back to school that was possible. You went 1 block this way, around the block, up that way, stopped for an egg cream, a soft pretzels in the candy store, look at a few comic books. So that was one of the perks. And nobody said, "Oh, how took you so long?" Nobody. Same thing. Nobody. Well, I never did. I never went home. I got my egg cream. Looked at a few comic books, walked slow, and I took the long way back. So that was one of the perks of being an altar server. Usually you got back. It was right around lunchtime, so you wound up missing like 2.5, 3 hours of school. But probably missed some good fun times too when you miss out of with those classes that we had. Brother John and all these. Not all the brothers were like Brother Daggett. There was some you had more fun with. And as we move forward, I'm gonna, bring some of my classmates on to embellish on some of these funny stories. Just that I mean, they're in my head, but it's always good to hear that somebody believes that you got the story right. Yeah, they were there too. They reaffirm it. It's funny. I find it hysterical sometimes when I'm just talking to somebody about Hoffman Street or something, and you just start laughing because you remember it the same way, and it's sort of one of those memory things you cannot forget. I wanted to also, for the folks that are going to get a chance to look at the pictures, and one of the pictures there's Gugi, just the greatest young friend anybody could have. Naturally, Gugi, he died young. Maybe he was 30. He had some kind of a cancer. By then, we were already disconnected, but Gugi still lived in the neighborhood. You were aware of him. As an adult, he hung out in Benny's Bar down at 187 and I guess that's 3rd Avenue there. He was a fixture there. He never came out to the concerts or the discos. But growing up, this guy was a must-have. And the reason why I'm bringing up Gugi, his birthday is going to be April 30th. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Gugi tonight. And anybody that knows me or any interest in listening to these podcasts or Hoffman Street will have a Gugi story, to reflect on. We took him for granted. We had him every day, every weekend for all those years, probably until we went off to high school, maybe 9th or 10th grade, that didn't really hang out that much anymore. But through Mount Carmel and, 9th grade, Gugi, he was just a real character. He would do anything. He would bet on anything. He loved playing poker. He loved pitching, whatever we pitched. I don't think there were quarters. Maybe we pitched nickels. He loved the action. One of the funniest stories with Gugi was somebody dared him to down a 16-ounce Pepsi in one gulp. I think like for $1. Somebody said, we'll give you $1 if you down that soda. Gugi didn't even think about it. He took the soda and then he took the $1. No worries. Big burp later and he was ready to make some more money. This is the kind of, and when you're witnessing this, this kind of a guy, he was just a real pleasure to be around. So and once we started to drink and carouse around, he was even way more fun. He liked to have a good time. He had all the vices, gambling, drinking. It's unfortunately he was only 12, but he was the greatest guy. Another guy, great family, lovely parents. Always, when they saw you, asking how you doing. Good folks, his father and mother. I think he had a couple of sisters too, Gugi. But those years are long gone. Gugi, he went every time, one story comes to mind was we started drinking. Whoever could buy us beer or get us beer or liquor, it didn't say, oh, nah, I don't think so. If the opportunity came up on a weekend or a summer night, we were getting the beer. And Gugi, because he sort of had that excessive personality, he always seemed to get wasted, beyond like everybody else. A funny story, we were in the schoolyard, and there was a 45 schoolyard. It had an escape hatch to get you down to the cellars where the apartment buildings were. And the cops came and they got out of the car and we all scattered, but Gugi was ossified. He was passed out. So Michael Lab, he's going to take one for the team here. He's on top of Gugi. Cop goes, hey, what are you guys doing over there? Michael Lab tells the cop, oh, we're just wrestling. So the cop goes, oh, yeah? How come the other guy's not moving? Yeah, that was the end of that. They took Gugi home. We didn't see Gugi for a while after that, but it didn't break his spirit at all. He got, you get punished in those days. That was a memorable night for Gugi. So much laughs with that guy. We always felt that he was better than us in cards. Either that he always won, or he cheated, or playing for like a nickel a hand or nickel dime, however they called it. So one time we're playing a game. If you're playing on in the schoolyard on the steps, somebody's going to be taller or higher than the guy below you. The steps, not perfect for playing cards in. So classic Gugi. It was play a game where you're not supposed to look at your cards. The last card anyway, peekaboo or something they called it. So Gugi's betting, taking everybody's money. So it comes time to flip over the last card. Gugi blurps out, full boat, before he even flipped over the card. So he says, Gugi, you made an excuse, but it put us at ease because Gugi was a better card player anyway than all of us, and then he said, "Oh, you're a cheater," but it was all in fun, What did he won 20 cents, he won $1. No, we were just killing time back in those days. Like I said, I wanted to talk about Gugi a little bit today because, like I said, it is going to be his birthday, and 40. He's probably gone 40 years, Gugi, and he's in one of the photos there. He all duked up for Easter Sunday. I was lucky. Gugi's short for Guglielmo. I was Granelli, and we were both very short. And I seemed to, for a couple of years, that I always sat behind Gugi when we were in the same class. And I did sit behind Gugi when he had the neck surgery. I think he has some kind of vertebrae problem, or I really don't know. But he had a big scar on the back of his neck, and his movement was restricted, left to right. And I looked at that scar for a lot of years every day in class, but it never deterred Gugi from his just larger than life personality, and he's a good friend to everybody. Gugi was never not talking to this guy or having a problem. Never. He was just a good guy, and you'll take a time to think about Gugi, and you'll put a smile on your face. And if you can think of any Gugi stories, post them up on the Facebook page in the comments. A lot of guys have been asking. It's been a while since the last episode. Well, we put the episodes out about 3 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and everybody sort of binged them up. And then, so now we got another one coming out. So, like I said, the feedback is real important to me. But actually, I'm getting into it, and I'm going to be relying on. When I think back of the cast of characters that I have gone through in my days, forget about all you guys from Malcolm or Arthur Avenue. I mean, I know I mentioned Butch. That was like my after-school job at that little grocery store. There's a lot of content there. Just that was my upbringing, really. That's how I had to learn about things. On the streets, my mom did the best she could, but it was toughen it up, and these experiences and these people that I went through all this with, really good folks, a lot of good folks out there. So Friday is Gugi's birthday, and throw something up on Facebook if you remember Gugi. Some people do. No reason we shouldn't forget about these guys that were so formative in our days. It even reminds me real quick of another story. There's a picture. Stephen Albano sent me another picture. Gugi, back then, the RC Cola cap had if you had a prize, you won Twisted, it would say you won something. Gugi even won $1 or 50 cents on the RC cap one day, and he put the cap out, and there's a bunch of guys behind him, and he's smiling, and Stephen Albano took the picture of Gugi, RC Cola, big time winner. He was he was a real winner. Gugi, loved him. He I've been thinking a lot about him because I wanted to do like a little tribute to him, and I hope everybody appreciates it. moving forward, I'm really enjoy. Like I said, the feedback is great. I'm going to be hitting a lot of spots. We're working on bringing somebody in on a sort of like a Zoom call, and I'm going to be going all over the place. I plan on doing this for a long time. I'm going to try to do these episodes as long as I could talk. I'm going to do them, and the guys in my close circle, they're going to come on. They want to talk with me. They want to remember the stories, but I'm going to be going off the reservation. Some things that come to mind. I have a good memory of the 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C., but I'm going to need to have somebody on the show with me to talk about that trip to the way I remember it, and I want to see if there's anything I missed on that. That was a classic Mount Carmel trip, boys department, 8th grade trip to Washington. So on Facebook, there's that Mount Carmel page, 1968. There's a lot of names there and a lot of people that are going to help me for content and entertain everybody else. And I mean, how much fun is it to hear somebody's voice or see or hear about somebody you almost maybe didn't see in 40 or 50 years. If they didn't live on your block, maybe the last time you saw a person was when you finished Mount Carmel. But when I see these names on Facebook, it knocks me out. It just doesn't feel like it was so long ago. So I'm going to work a lot of things into it. I have a lot of ideas. My son helps me a lot with everything, the way it's trajectorying the show and the listeners and the hits and the followers and the views. So, like I said, hope you enjoy it, and pass the word verbally to anybody you think might want to listen. And please don't hesitate to message me on either Facebook or on the Facebook page. If you got to tell me that I suck, or let me know. It's but I'm having a lot of fun, and we got a lot of ideas, and I need more ideas. So once again, it's the email page is kickthecanpod@gmail.com, and you can follow the Kick the Can podcast Facebook page, and from the Facebook page you can directly link to listen, and also you subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And my son Matt was just telling me that he Googled Kick the Can podcast, and it's the first thing that came up. So I don't know, that's pretty cool, I think. And just keep talking about it. And we're going to keep moving forward with this. Please, once again, the feedback. And today was sponsored by Governor's Comedy Club on Long Island, New York. They've always been good to me. Not really, but they have a podcast studio I'm looking to go in there and use. So I'm being nice to them. And enjoy your time. I'm going to try to get another one out maybe within 10 days, Matt. What do you think? Yeah? And all right. Good, everybody. Enjoy your time, and thanks for listening.